Well, hello, everyone. My name is Hector Del Castillo, Chief Product Officer at BoldPM, and I'd like to welcome all of you to tonight's discussion. Tonight's topic is data and analytics, year in review and a look ahead. And what we're going to be doing today is going to be discussing the trends, the challenges, the opportunities, and predictions of data and analytics. And as we are going along, we're going to focus on what happened this year when it comes to data and analytics. And what are most people saying? What are they predicting is going to be happening as to what's next in the next, not just next year, but in the next 5 years through 2025. So what we'll be discussing today is trends and perspectives about data and analytics. We're going to talk about predictions that people are saying are going to be happening not just next year, but also through 2025. And key takeaways, and then we have a few minutes to do Q&A. I would encourage all of you to be typing in your questions in the chat, and then we'll get to them, and we can cover them as we go along, or we can cover them during the Q&A portion. So I would encourage all of you to make sure that you can type in your questions in the chat so we can get to them as we go. So the first thing we're going to be covering is understanding what is the market size and what is the market forecast for business intelligence and data and analytics, and the difference between business intelligence and data and analytics, because those are two different markets that have been developing over time. And what we're seeing is, as one is ramping down, the other one is emerging, right? The newer one is emerging. And here's what's happening. Here's projections on demand of business intelligence only between 2020 and 2025. Look at the size of the market. It's projected to be 23.1 billion. This is a global now, not just US. Although US represents about 40 to 50% of this, the remainder is throughout the other areas in the world as far as business intelligence applications and platforms. But it's expected to continue to grow for the next 5 years, all the way up to slightly more than $33 billion globally, growing at a nice, steady compound annual growth rate of 7.5%. And that's business intelligence. Same vendor, Markets and Markets, this is where this report, they actually published this report just this year, I believe around May, and they usually will update it at least 3 times in a year. Here's where this report came from, saying the majority of the consumption of BI is going to be growing at a faster rate in the Asia Pacific region. So even though US today is almost the majority of the market, Asia Pacific is going to become the largest consumer of business intelligence in the next 5 years. Not just China, it's the entire Asia Pacific region that is now adopting. And in COVID-19, post-COVID-19, everybody's accelerating the adoption of business intelligence and data and analytics platforms. Here's a different snapshot to see what the growth rate and how it changes by market. Notice that North America, it's at the average of 7.6%. That's where this is at. It's around 7.6% if you were to put the numbers in here. So this is showing that Asia Pacific is going to be growing at about almost, I think it looks like it's about 3-4 times faster as far as adoption. And so this bubble is going to get bigger, probably about the same size, if not bigger than the size of demand in North America, which is demonstrated by the diameter of these bubbles. So you can see the number one consumer today is North America, followed by Asia Pacific, followed by Europe, then Middle East and Africa, and then Latin America, in that order. But this bubble is going to be growing faster than this bubble in the next 5 years, according to this report. Here's now the data and analytics market. So data and analytics is now emerging, and it's actually emerging at a much faster rate, almost twice the average rate of business intelligence. The CAGR here is 14% as opposed to 7.6% average. And this is, again, global statistics. And the size, it's already, last year, it was already at almost 110 billion in consumption, it's supposed to be growing by a lot more. I think it's going to triple by 2024. So this number is going to grow to over 300 billion. And this data analytics is really hot. It's actually growing and it's continued to grow. And again, the growth rate in North America for this being a newer, it's 32% CAGR in North America. And we're right now leading. But I would expect that Asia Pacific will be a close second as far as growth rate of data and analytics solutions. And the reason for this is because what you're seeing right now is that as the growth rate is slowing down for business intelligence, it's really ramping up as this is going up. So it's actually the data and analytics market is cannibalizing the business intelligence market, which means that there's going to be less and less people adopting new BI solutions, more and more new customers adopting data and analytics platforms. That's what this is saying, and it's going to be happening in the next 5 years. So pretty exciting if you want to be a data architect, a data analyst, a business analyst, any of these titles that use data. This is where the future is, and I would say not just for the 5 years. I think this is going to be for the next decade. This is going to be the decade of analytics. And it's not just analytics alone. We're going to learn that it's actually going to be analytics converging with other technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and a few others that are also part of the Internet of Things settings that are going to be emerging in the next decade. Here's what the size of the market is. Again, 139 billion estimated in 2020. Again, this is from Market and Markets, and expected to grow in 2025 to 229.4 billion. This is just the data and analytics market. And if you look at Ventana Research, I believe this is actually Ventana Research says, CAGR is a lot more because they're talking about just the fastest growing right now in analytics, which is augmented or predictive prescriptive analytics, which is analytics integrated with AI and machine learning, both. This is going to be the fastest growing niche within data and analytics. And the size of the market by itself is going to be about almost 30 billion by 2025. So here's the whole thing. Gartner is saying that data and analytics are today key accelerants to anyone that wants to digitize their business. And if you look at what's been happening in 2020 post-COVID-19 is most organizations that had been sort of dragging their heels and doing digital transformation to digitalize their business. Post-COVID-19, everybody's fast and furiously trying to digitize their business and catch up because most of us aren't going to any retail stores anymore. If you're looking what's happening right now in this holiday season, Black Friday is really a Black Cyber Friday week because it started the week of Thanksgiving and it's going on this week with Cyber Monday week. And it's expected that the next few weeks, majority of us are going to be shopping and asking for delivery. And this is going to be millions and millions of hundreds of millions of packages being delivered all in this month. That's what the expectation is. And we're not going into retail stores anymore. And this includes even restaurants. Most of us are ordering from an application or just ordering for an application or website, and then either carrying out or delivery. That's consumption in the food and beverage business right now. Even in grocery stores, many of us are doing exactly the same thing. And that behavior is supposed to be persisting even beyond. Once we get into the next normal, it's going to be a new normal, not the old normal anymore. Expectation is that a lot more of us are going to be shopping online than ever before, and it's going to continue to persist even after the COVID-19 pandemic has been controlled. So let's take a look at what is the difference between BI and data analytics. Well, here's a definition of BI. This is a definition that we talked about earlier this year. And BI is actually more, it's actually more modern than, let's say, the ERP systems, right? The enterprise resource type of platforms. BI spun off from that. And this is how companies like MicroStrategy got started, even Logi Analytics got started when BI was the thing. This was maybe about 15, 20 years ago. The newer one that just started maybe about 5 years ago is this data analytics. And data analytics is basically now looking beyond the visualization, beyond the dashboards. It's actually looking at how do we solve business problems that are hard, that are complex to solve and require a lot of analysis. And not just one person, but teams of people trying to figure out how to solve complex problems that businesses, entire organizations encounter. And so often this is all the stuff that they need to do. And it's all a combination of the numerical analysis that gets involved and figuring out how to do it in a way that it's automated so that data is then massaged, being brought in. Even if it's not your own data, you can actually make sure that you have data that is clean, that is not dirty data, that is not biased in the way that is being collected, or the way that the quality of the data is clean, so that you can actually start analyzing and start getting into real solutions to whatever business problem you're trying to solve. And again, as we're seeing right now, BI focused on this part right here to do a lot of descriptive and diagnostic. Everything from reports to dashboards to visualizations, this is BI. Data analytics started taking off from here, and now it's focusing on these things here. Not just understanding what happened, but why did it happen and what could be done to actually prevent it from happening, and being proactive in the way you act so that you prevent unplanned downtime or anything that equates to bringing down the entire operational efficiency of your organization. And so a lot of the data analytics is talking about how to do data management and automate those processes, being able to do things like do analysis and analytics without having to do any coding. So zero coding, no programming, just being able to do things like use neuro-linguistic programming, or even typing in a query and then just getting the information right off the bat without having to do any programming at all. So everything is migrating from from doing coding to now having low code solutions to having no code solutions. That's the evolution that's going to be happening in the next 10 years, 5 to 10 years. So data and analytics and the trends and perspectives. Let's take a look at that. Now we're going to talk about trends and perspectives on data and analytics alone. So forget about the BIP. This is going to be mostly about analytics, which is really taking off right now. And there's a huge acceleration of adoption of data and analytics across industrial sectors, not just in North America, but throughout the world. So this is from a report from Sisense. And Sisense is one of these platforms that is a data analytics platform. So we actually talk about where they are because they're actually part of the Magic Quadrant. And we're going to talk about exactly where they're at. But they actually published this report called The State of Data and Analytics in May of this year. And here's some of the key takeaways, saying small businesses are leading the charge. Many of the organizations that have been dragging their feet was because most of these organizations are usually very cash strapped, meaning they have very little cash to reinvest. And if they're not really looking on how to continue to get sales, they're not really investing very much into the future. And automation is kind of like takes a sort of like a lower priority than making sure that you're still making sales. And most small businesses that have been dragging their feet in adopting are now accelerating in digitizing their businesses, because they realize that it's not just about having a website. It's not just about having a set of mobile applications. It's about figuring out how to manage and deliver a best-in-class customer experience and how to actually control and manage that customer journey as the customers are expecting it. And what they're finding out is that the expectations have changed quite a bit. So they're trying to catch up by actually automating and doing things like this. So what is driving all of this? Well, what's driving some of this, and this talks about now the business intelligence market. This is actually from Market and Markets. The report that was published earlier this year, as I mentioned, has these as drivers. The BI adoption is being driven by the following: rising demand for dashboards and visualization, increased adoption of cloud solutions, applications, and increasing growth in data generation. There are petabytes of information, new information being created on a daily basis across organizations. This is a global phenomenon, and it's actually accelerating, not slowing down. It actually is accelerating, more and more data than ever before, each and every day. The restraints is that it's difficult to justify ROI to any adoption of BI solutions. So this is an issue, especially when you can't see that there's going to be a tangible return. And this is where most organizations struggle, is that they haven't done it before because they don't see any ROI, and they only do things based on ROI. Opportunities are that leveraging BI and data visualizations during COVID-19. You can also, there's a rising need to create valuable insights from unused data and embedded BI as well. And embedded BI, there are some niche players, and that includes Logi Analytics. We'll talk about some of that. And finally, the other piece is challenges. The challenges is that with so much data being generated, so much unstructured data, it's hard to figure out how to integrate the data, because integration means that you have to work on improving the quality of all your data streams before you can actually put them together. And often this work today is manual work. And this is where many of these data management platforms that we're going to be hearing about are focusing on, is how to automate the data management process so that they can figure out how to do data integration in real time. Most everybody is trying to get to the real-time solution. And right now, best case scenarios, there are some that are real-time, but they're very expensive, not for the small businesses or even the mid-market companies. And the lack of skilled workers is another issue. The data scientists, the data analysts, people who are trained on how to do data analysis and how to focus on understanding problems and then focusing on solving the problem the right way in order to ensure that you can automate a solution. Some of the key findings, according to Gartner, is that the pandemic has accelerated the adoption of things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, not just for predictive analytics, but also for data management and the handling of data and adding of metadata in order to create structured data out of unstructured data. And also augmenting data and analytics, all different aspects of data and analytics, from the collection to the integration to measuring the quality of your data and making sure that you have clean data before you can actually begin analyzing it, and then making sure that you are testing your solutions to make sure that they work in the right context. But also combination of diversification of data, because more and more data is coming from new devices that have never existed before. A lot of these smart sensors that are now being deployed, and this is new data that very few people know how to handle and how to blend it with already existing data streams that they have access to. All of this is where the work is for data scientists, data architects, data managers. And also maturity of AI tools and techniques are also a part of the struggle, is that AI today, it's going to be a long time before they can become expert systems, right? Because they take some time to learn. And these algorithms are not necessarily the best right off the shelf today. They need to mature a little bit more in order for them to be usable off the shelf.
Solutions Review presents the top 5 can't-miss business intelligence trends for 2020. Number 5, automated analytics. Automation is impacting virtually every industry and business process, and data analytics software is about to become the next frontier. Automated analytics is heavily reliant on AI and machine learning. While some organizations are using this functionality to speed past manual data tasks, BI solution providers are also increasingly tying automation to natural language processing. This should enable users to run complex analysis simply by asking a question. There's a reason why Gartner predicted more than 40% of data science tasks will be automated by 2020. Number 4. Mobile business intelligence. It used to be true that mobile BI applications were only good for consuming analytic content, but it's making a comeback as organizations employ more business users in positions to do data analysis. This isn't the only factor, as the rise of new AI and machine learning influenced BI platforms are empowering those users to do mobile work that wasn't possible a few years ago. But its market penetration is growing, as 28% of organizations are already using it, a 10% jump from 2015. Number 3. Natural language processing and conversational analytics. This enables BI users to ask business questions in natural language via text or voice. The technology encompasses capabilities like content categorization, topic discovery and modeling, contextual extraction, and sentimental analysis. NLP breaks down language into shorter, elemental pieces so you can better understand the relationships between data and explore how each piece works together. According to Ventana research, 33% of organizations expect natural language query and natural language generation to be standard capabilities in business intelligence software shortly. Number 2. Auditable AI, also known as explainable AI, an emerging field in machine learning that addresses how black box decisions are made. In data analytics, users want to inspect the decision-making process, making auditable AI a quickly growing trend. DARPA describes AI explainability in 3 main parts: prediction accuracy, decision understanding and trust from human users, and inspection and traceability. AI will continue to be a game changer for BI users, especially those without technical data science skills. However, the best AI-focused data analytics tools can explain the process behind each prediction. Number 1. Augmented analytics, which uses machine learning to change how analytic content is developed and used. The technology encompasses other modern analytic capabilities like data preparation, data management, business process management, process mining, and data science. Augmented analytics automates those processes to eliminate the need for data scientists. Analyst house Gartner Inc. expects augmented analytics to become the dominant driver of new business intelligence buying by 2021. In that same time period, the firm projects at least half of all analytical queries will be generated via search, natural language processing, or voice. If you'd like more information on business intelligence, click the link below to download our free comprehensive buyer's guide, available exclusively at solutionsreview.com. In the meantime, Solutions Review presents the top 5 can't-miss data management trends for 2020. Number 5. Data catalogs, which act as an end-user index for searching sources and definitions that have been compiled through data discovery. Powered by automated machine learning that tags or scans data, the technology is commonly used to ensure improved self-service BI governance. Data catalogs are becoming increasingly popular for common data management initiatives like improving data quality and regulatory compliance. Number 4. Graph databases are designed around the concept of a mathematical graph, storing data the same way other technologies, except it lets users see how data may be related without running a join to understand the relationship. The structure enables mapping of different types of relational and unstructured data as well. In this way, graph databases can offer a view of both simple and complex relationships between seemingly unrelated data. Number 3. Augmented data management. Taking advantage of machine learning and artificial intelligence, this trend will make important data management tasks self-configuring and self-tuning. Analyst house Gartner Inc. predicts that through the end of 2022, data tasks will be reduced by 45% through augmented data management. If augmentation in business intelligence and analytics is any indication, these factors could see the development of a brand new enterprise software category in data management. Number 2. Hybrid and multi-cloud data management. Adoption of cloud and hybrid cloud architectures continues to explode alongside the need for reliable and scalable data management. This investment in cloud technologies will extend to SaaS offerings as well, namely data and database as a service products. The process of master data management may be most adaptable to the cloud right now, however. According to IDC, 90% of large organizations will be engaged in revenue generation from data as a service in 2020. Number 1. Regulatory compliance. On the heels of GDPR and the newly enacted California Consumer Privacy Act, data governance will be an increasingly regulated and important aspect of data management. These compliance mandates are just the beginning, as an increasing number of nations and U.S. states consider their own data privacy frameworks. This will likely disrupt traditional marketing and data handling methods, forcing organizations to reconsider their practices. Well, there you have it. Those are the top 5 can't-miss data management trends for 2020. If you'd like more information on this topic,
All right. So I was saying that both of these videos are available off of the
click the link below to download.
So we're going to be sharing those, and they're already in the page itself. So let me just take 5 minutes to wrap up, and then we can get into Q&A. And I don't know if there's any questions at this point. But if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. We'll get into the Q&A in about 5 minutes or so. So here's the top 10 data analytics trends according to Gartner, right? So we talked about 5 different trends, and 5 different trends, one in data management, the other one in business intelligence, and that was solutions review. This is Gartner's take on top 10 trends of 2020. And basically, there's 3 parts to this. You got scaling of business impact, meaning, being able to make sure that you have some tangible business impact on whatever you're doing with data and analytics. And that means you have to get smarter, faster, and more responsible AI. This is the auditable or explainable AI that was discussed. Declining dashboards, and there's going to be now more of decision intelligence, meaning, we recommend that you do this kind of thing, so that, if there's already some evidence that something is happening or about to happen, you're going to get a recommendation to do something to avoid getting into trouble. And then X analytics mean that you now have to collect analytics from newer and newer devices, because that's all going to be all sorts of new devices that are going to be in the market, and you need to figure out how to blend and integrate that data into your existing data streams. Transforming deployment, it's about using augmented data management. That's another one of the points that Solutions Review made earlier. Cloud is going to be a lot of cloud adoption, actually accelerating cloud applications and cloud infrastructure and platforms. And then data and analytics that may be colliding. And basically all of this will lead to transforming the way that data is deployed around the world, around markets. And then finally, increasing data and the value of data and analytics. And that means that you now have to have the emergence of data marketplaces, practical blockchain solutions you can track transactions that are going to be mostly invisible to the human eye, and relationships that are forming based on the foundation of data and analytics. So this is the Gartner take on this. I'm not going to show this video, but it's actually going to be also in the information. We showed it earlier in the year. So I'm going to skip this one for the sake of time, because this is actually like maybe about another 3 to 5 minutes. But I'm going to include it in the post-event page, so you can actually see how the movement of vendors across the Magic Quadrants between I think it's like 2004 to 2018. And then the newer ones, 2016 to 2019, but also then the 2020. These are the BI and analytics platforms. And you can see, let me see if I can go into the latest one. You can see what happens to companies in the 4-year span. Usually between year to year, there's not really much movement, significant movement. But if you can see it across maybe 4 or 5 years, you can see real movement. Let's look about 4 different vendors. Number 1 vendor is going to be the Tableau. Tableau went from being a leader to being even a further out leader, getting closer to Microsoft with their Power BI. Then you have Microsoft. Microsoft started here and is climbing up, and actually right now still leading, but Tableau has gotten closer. Now look at what companies like Qlik pretty much has been standing still. Even though they've been doing a lot of improvement, they're pretty much standing still in the same quadrant, even after a 4-year period. This is how fast and furious these things are changing. These platforms are evolving pretty quickly. Look at Salesforce. Logi Analytics is one of these niche players of embedded analytics, and they were in the visionary, and now they're in the niche player, and they're going to be a niche player probably the rest of the time, because they're only doing embedded analytics and nothing else. And then Salesforce. Salesforce is one of these that took a quantum leap from being a niche player to now being a visionary. And with last year's acquisition of Tableau, you can bet that over time, probably by next year, they're going to start moving in this direction, because now they're embedding all of Tableau into Salesforce. And yes, you're still going to see Tableau by itself as a self-standing business unit, but now Salesforce is going to move this way. And another thing that just happened this week, announced, this, as of last year, was Salesforce's largest acquisition. Well, there's a new bigger acquisition that Salesforce did this week, announced this week. They're actually acquiring Slack. And what most people are saying is with the acquisition of both Tableau and Slack, Salesforce Analytics is actually going to get much closer, maybe even leapfrog Power BI.
And there's the assumption, of course, that all of these, that you can buy 3 different products and just have them fit together. I bet they will be spending
a lot of effort.
10 years,
they're going to be spending
5 years at least doing integration.
Be 3 to 5 years, but they're looking at by 2025, Salesforce by itself is going to get closer and maybe even come out here, and maybe there'll be some readjustment done to this whole thing. But that's what everybody's saying. Tableau was acquired last year. They're still integrating that into Salesforce. That's probably going to take another, couple of years, maybe. With the acquisition of Slack, which hasn't closed yet, it's been announced, but it hasn't closed. It's probably going to be another 3 years before they see the full power of Tableau, Slack, and Salesforce with their Einstein analytics getting closer to Power BI. So that's what's coming up in the near future. Gartner also has the customer choice, and customer choice, ThoughtSpot and Sisense. Both of these are brand new players in town. They haven't been around that long, at least not in the limelight. Sisense is now one of the customer deers, the number 1, right next to ThoughtSpot, right? And if you look together, where Sisense is trying to figure out where they are in here. I'm not even sure they're even here because it may be a data management instead.
They're close to the Origo there on the origin.
Oh yeah, right here. Yes, you're correct. So they're a visionary, but in the eyes of many customers, especially the SMBs, the small and mid-market companies, Sisense is for them, priced for them, but also has features and functionality and bells and whistles that they're looking for, along with ThoughtSpot, and both of them are here. Sisense here, ThoughtSpot is right here. But they're accelerating right now because remember what I said earlier, who's accelerating the adoption of data and analytics this year as of post-COVID-19? It's the SMBs of North America. And all the SMBs around the world are doing the same thing. Small and mid-market companies, they're adopting Sisense, ThoughtSpots, not the incumbents, not Tableau, not Microsoft Power BI. So there's going to be some transitioning here and some jockeying around.
You're saying the SMBs as vendors, not SMBs as customers?
Customers.
Okay.
Their main customers are SMBs. Well, let me put it this way. They have key accounts that are large enterprise. For example, ThoughtSpot, Walmart is one of their bigger customers, right? And that's pretty big, but they're also trying to come down to the mid-market. Mid-market are companies that are between 100 million to maybe about $1 billion in revenue, not market cap, just based on sales revenue, right? Whereas anyone that is bigger than $1 billion in sales is going to be a large enterprise. This is where they started, but now they're moving to the middle market, which is between the 200 million to $1 billion. That's what these guys want to play in. That's where they're actually gaining faster than anybody else.
Yeah, a lot of the. Oh, sorry, you're not in QA yet. Oh.
Yeah, we can actually discuss. We can talk more about this, but here's the other one. There's 3 other quadrants that are also newer. That says data management. So data is now data management, and there's different players in here. These are not the typical BI and analytics. These are different players, newer companies like Informatica, like Enterworks, and then data integration platforms, which are trying to automate the process of blending the data coming in from different streams and automating the addition of the metadata. Again, Informatica, now you see some of the typical large companies here, SAP, Oracle, and IBM, but you also see a lot of other companies that are not typical BI and analytics platforms. And then finally, the data quality solutions. And again, a different set of players, not just the usual suspects, but also different players that are all playing just in this niche of data quality and trying to automate data quality. And in reality, when you're talking about all the things that we heard about, like having explainable AI, auditable AI, and augmented analytics, and doing this magically without the need of any data scientist, it means that all of these things, right? Data quality tools, data integration tools, and the master data management solutions, along with the BI and analytics platforms, they all have to play together nicely. So there's a lot of integration work that needs to get done, right? So if you're a data architect, a data scientist, a data manager, this is job security for you guys in the next 5 to 10 years, because that's what's going to be needed to actually have all of this, pie in the sky trends that people are talking about. It's going to take at least 5 to 10 years to realize. And the definition of data management, integration, and data quality are all in here. This is going to be shared with you post-event. I'm not necessarily going to get into this, but you can actually look at all of these, and you can see that there's some overlap, but there's also some different players that are just doing in one of these and not the others. And this is where I think it's going to get really interesting, because if you look at the BI and analytics platform, it's already a highly fragmented market. And if you look at this, it's even further fragmented, because you have different players now doing just data management, or just data integration, or data integrity, and just data quality, along with the typical BI and analytics platform vendors, the players in there. So there's a lot of interoperability and a lot of integration work that's going to be needed in order for this to work seamlessly and also transparent and without the use of any data scientists. Looking at predictions, there are 10 predictions. And some of the predictions are here regarding data and business analytics. Augmented, we heard about, machine learning, AI, all of these things. Convergence of governance, right? GDPR and these new laws that are basically managing how data is kept private, and make sure that you comply according to regulations that vary market to market. This is all about governance, and this is going to spin off another aspect of data, because it's new. And industrial products, this is the industrial automation that I was talking about, and consumer products that are smart devices like the Ring and the GoPro cameras and all these things that are connected and gather information, and you can go to portals and view. Now you're going to start looking at how do you actually blend that information along with other things to give you more different kinds of applications. Then data and analytics, you have, sorry, did I copy this? I might have, no, this is different. This is different. Augmented, along with data quality, keeping track of your data quality, being able to ensure that you can calculate ROI on your data and analytics initiatives. Adding blockchain to it, that's another integration job of putting together blockchain solutions to track your data as you go around and you're selling your data, and that's what you're monetizing. And then graphing technologies for context, meaning you overlay and create multiple layers of different things, and you create a composite of all the layers in one snapshot. So this is the predictions. These are all for further review. I have links. These are all included in the post-event page, so you can actually navigate where you can actually look at the reference material I used for today's information. Live portals that are COVID-19. One of the coolest one is this newer, the risk assessment planning tool, which was just launched right before the Thanksgiving holiday. And I want to shift to Q&A. And oh yeah, I do want to mention this. I'm running another meetup, which is the Product Camp DC, and we're actually meeting next week on Thursday. Normally, these are going to be the second Thursday of each month. That's at least the vision. you're welcome to sign up for this one. There'll be information in the post-event page as to how you can sign up for this one. It's another meetup. And BoldPM Academy is a series of live online workshops that I'm starting this month. We got at least a couple of them that are being offered this month, and then there'll be additional ones coming up in 2021. I encourage you to join these. They're all available from a landing page, and the landing page is here. I'll be sharing this also in the post-event page and also via the chat as well. And my contact information, also Philip, my co-organizer, who I think was too busy to join today because he's been like swamped with the end of year stuff. So I just wanted to open it up for Q&A, and we can go back, or we can go, I can show you some of the stuff on the post-event page. Any questions? Yeah, so Eric, I know you had, I think you had something on when I was talking about data management. I wasn't really sure if you recall your.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. This is all, it's markets to markets was the first one, and then there was the last stuff here was Gartner, right?
Yes.
Because it's a lot of buzzwords, and they have definitions that are sometimes quite precise and sometimes a little bit nebulous, and often it's hard to distinguish the technical terminology from the fashion terminology.
Yes.
And there are certain things where you can actually put dollar amounts at it. Gartner is very good at being able to say, enterprise software spending will be this year. It will drop by 12% this year, and it will go back up 4.7%. And then there's other stuff like, data quality will increase by 50% due to use of blockchain contracts.
Yeah, what's quality?
Oh, sorry. Now I hear, but I didn't hear quite. Someone.
No, nothing. No.
Oh yeah.
I mumbled.
Oh yeah.
Not important.
So it's it's some of this is super unscientific, and then there's other stuff that is actually quite grounded in some bottom-up analysis, and it's sometimes hard to distinguish them. And then there's a lot of very high level commentary here. If Salesforce buys Slack and they buy Tableau, and I think it's probably the 200th company they buy, although these are the bigger ones. They do that, and they sort of automatically bump their spot in the Gartner Quadrants. But it's a real big question what the actual products look like. What happens when you take Slack and you integrate it with Salesforce, or Tableau and Salesforce? Well, Salesforce, the product Salesforce, of which there are many, may become better. It may become bloated. What happens to Slack, as a product by itself? Does it decrease in quality because you end up having, irrelevant features that are really just advertisements for Salesforce? It's
Yeah, so I'm thinking that's you're exactly right. I think this is the evidence that it's a highly fragmented market. So even though these players, and there may be large organizations along with mid-market companies and then smaller companies in here that are all players in either one in any of these quadrants that we talked about. Whether you're talking about data management tools or analytics tools versus data quality, data integration, data integrity. There's really no one company that dominates the majority of the market anywhere in the world, right? That's what you got to remember.
Yeah.
So, and the reason for that is that right now there's so much transition still going on right now, and even new things that, and the pace of changes, is not slowing down. It's actually accelerating. So I think this is going to remain a highly fragmented market for a while, meaning at least a decade, if not longer.
Yeah.
And even though you're seeing this huge, things that are happening as far as trying to get more value, they're not necessarily going to be monetizing on that. They're really looking to expand to other things, and so they're doing it in not only to retain customers, but also to acquire new customers.
Yeah,
but
and
it's
sell
really
other
not going
products
to
to
give them a leadership position when it comes to market share.
Yeah.
I think that all of that, it's all these changes that keep on happening. All of these things need to be enhanced and continue to be improved as things change in the market. And that's, markets are continuously changing. And so I think the work here is actually going to be here for a long time. It's just that the majority, what this is really saying is the majority of organizations from mid-market companies on up is going to be doing this now fast and furiously for the next 10 to 15 years, assuming they still want to remain relevant. Because if you don't do it, then you run the risk that you become irrelevant as a business, because somebody else will come in and do things much quicker, much faster, be much more flexible, adaptable, and offer more value for at a competitive price compared to you. And then you're not going to be able to even retain your own customers.
You're talking about clients, not vendors now, right? Customers of the BI tools, for instance, or
yes.
Because it's much of the sort of very high level discussion that you find in the Gartner reports and so on. Much of it is sort of assuming enterprise size companies, and I guess what we call small business in the US is actually quite big. But for instance, like if you're a small business, you probably wouldn't be looking for a software vendor. You would be looking for some individual software products. And Gartner does not help you find a product. It helps you find a vendor. So that makes sense for a giant corporation that is going to, have a dedicated Microsoft sales exec, account manager dedicated to them. Mm-hmm. And they will buy all of their stuff from Microsoft because they're on Azure and they are running, everyone's running Office 365. But mm-hmm. So, behind all these quadrants, you don't really get to see, what's going on with the products. Are these things user-friendly? Is better, more features is usually better, but depending on how you put them together, it can be a horrible thing to use. So.
Correct. Yeah, these are going to be like very high level. They give you access to the macro level, not the micro level, right? But the same organizations, you can actually go to them if you have a budget. You can get more of the micro level, micro market, and specific industrial niches that you want to play in. If you want to, let's say, customize a solution for a specific industrial sector. You can get those kinds of reports, but it starts with just understanding the climate first before you can actually get down to the weather, down at whatever sectors you want to be playing in.
In one sense, BI, for instance, is, if you take the big BI products, or the big BI vendors, the big BI products, they are all glorified pivot tables in one way or another, except for that subset, which is actually quite a large subset, which Gartner has picked out into their own report now called the traditional enterprise reporting solutions. Except then, in many cases, each one of these dots on the quadrant is going to actually map to a product because, TIBCO, they make Spotfire, and that's the product you're going to get. But then suddenly Tableau gets acquired by Salesforce and you no longer have that correspondence. So you sort of lose the ability to use the Gartner reports to hear about a single product. Now you get to hear about a company instead.
Yes.
Anyway,
and so like for example, some of the reports that I linked, these are the links that I included. This is almost like a 30-page document that you can read the details in here. I just gave you like the highlights. This one has 100 predictions, but only 10 of them that are relevant to BI, data management, and data analytics, right? And then you have the State of the BI Analytics Report link from Citizens. This is actually a 50-page document, and all I gave you was the executive summary. So there's more details in here that you can look at if you want to get more deeper into that. And then finally, I also provided you the links to the Dresner report for 2020. And the Dresner report is very clear, saying why is this such a fragmented market? When you look at just the executive, look at this is a 100-page report, I think.
Yeah. And this is all very, numeric, so which is good. Yeah.
The complete report is available to you here. I actually provided you a link to this as well from the post-event page, and you can get into more specific things like, very specific things that are about either data management or data quality, data integrity, or analytics itself, or BI. And it tells you that depending on the industrial sectors you want to sell into, how do they behave and how are they using these applications? Which functions and how are they using, and which function is really more, demanding more of these applications or a different portfolio of these applications, right? So you can get into the numbers in this report. I didn't have the time to get into the details of this. I'm thinking that this is one of the reports that I usually will do like just by itself, one presentation at a future meetup, but at least you have access to this. If you're interested in doing a summary or something, based on this one, the information is already here. You have access to it.
Yeah, that's great. Is that on the Meetup comment page?
So basically, if you go down to scroll down beyond, I included a few videos that I didn't have the time, but here are the links to those things that are just already available. All you do is you click through and then it opens up. So it's all available from the post-event page.
Sorry, I have to get going.
Yes, I do too.
See you again. Yeah.
Are there any other questions, or are you guys okay? You guys can open up your mics if you want. Dan, did you get the information that you needed?
Yeah.
Okay. Olga, what about you? You're muted.
So I'll review, I'll go over those videos. They seem to be very interesting. So there is something to go over again.
Sounds good.
Definitely, yes. I want to watch them all.
Great. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here, and I hope that you have a great rest of the month and great holidays as well. The holidays are coming. I know they're going to be probably different, just like Thanksgiving was. So I know it was for me. But I hope that all of you have happy holidays, and we'll be in touch early next year. Again, we already posted the information for the first meetup for next year. If you go to the meetup page and you actually go to where the meetups are, you can go to events, and in here you'll see that the upcoming ones is the one in February is already posted. If you're interested in either hosting or sponsoring a future meetup, get a hold of me. I'm sure that we can arrange sometime in the future when we can do that, when we can give you a time slot if you're really interested. And also, if you can refer me to any interesting companies that are platform providers, whether it's Tableau or any of the other companies that we spoke about that are part of those quadrants. If you have any contacts, let me know, because I'll be more than happy to talk to them and see if they can do a demo for us at a future meetup sometime in 2021.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and you have a great rest of your week. Have a happy holidays, and we'll see you again next year.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Happy 2021.
Yes.
Happy
Holidays.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, you too.